I'm a special one.
Decide I was right.
Hello and welcome back to OmniFit TV. This is your host Omar speaking, and tonight's video is going to be a bit of an unusual one. Now, today's topic is Van Gaal's recovery from prostate cancer. Now, I've been wanting to make a video ever since the news came out, ever since the diagnosis, ever since the announcement that he had been diagnosed with the disease. Now, I thought that at first he had just been diagnosed, not that he had been battling it for a long time. And upon, just paying attention to the news as of late last week, which was a couple of days after the announcement that he had been diagnosed with it, he announced his recovery. And that was perhaps one of the happiest moments of my week, not just as a football fan, but as a human being, because as a man in particular. Now, I think this is really important to the world of football in general, because there's a point that has to be made here. We allow the game to dehumanize these people. We allow the game in general, or our love of the game, to blind us in a lot of ways, to dehumanize these football players, the staff members, the managers, both the players and the managers especially. I mean, you look at how certain fans react to difficult situations, and I could easily talk about the way football just takes over people here in Egypt. The fan bases, the way they're split, the way they treat each other. I could go into detail on that, and I can talk about it all day. But in my humble opinion, I think that Van Gaal's recovery, and thank God he recovered, thank God he recovered, and it's just, his recovery is a highlight. It's a piece of history that reminds us all that these are human beings. And I'm making this video not for exposure as myself, but I felt it would be important to talk about this because we spend so much time berating these people. We spend a lot of time insulting them on social media. And you'll find people who talk about how that's okay to do, though if you're a player or a manager, it's always like, okay, you signed up for this. You knew what was coming, so you just have to bear it. I've always disagreed with that, and this is a prime example. And you look at Nagelsmann, who most recently had close to 450 death threats sent to him via Instagram. People were saying things about his mother. It's baffling to me that certain people can just dehumanize these human beings who we supposedly admire, right? Who we look forward to seeing on a weekly basis, sometimes even more so than that. You tune into your favorite team, and you tune into to watch these players and to watch these managers on the sidelines. And I'll give you another example. Tuchel's separation from his wife, for instance. We rarely ever see or know what's happening in the private lives of these people. And I think that's a very good thing. I'm not saying that we should have a window, per se, into their personal lives. We shouldn't. I think the fact that we know how much they make on a weekly basis is enough to piss people off. And I'm not being political here in any sense. It is that way. Whether you agree with it or not. No one's earnings should be made public. Maybe it's because they make so much money. That's a topic for another day. But my point here is, we take these people apart so easily and so often. Meme culture, the internet, it is a brutal place. And I'm trying to hold my tongue as best as possible. It is a brutal place for these people, for artists, for athletes, for football players in specifically. For people who love this sport in particular, because it is perhaps, if not arguably, and if not factually, and as far as I know, it is a fact, football is the most popular sport in the world, and these players get so much more exposure than any other players in any other sport in the world, and the same goes for the managers. And I think that more attention should be given to these victories. Football journalism spends so much time building drama, and they forget that there are so many important things happening in the game every day. So many advancements, so many achievements. History is being made on a daily basis in football. You look at women's football and you see how it's thriving. If you were to pay attention to the stories behind these players that you see all over the world, not just in Europe, you look at them And you realize that the game has always been a reason to celebrate. And yet somehow we turn it into this tool of antagonization. And I just can't help but feel horrible about it. You know, I love this sport. I love the people who work day in and day out to make sure that the love that we have is expressed every day, that the exposure that these people need and deserve is delivered to them with value, with meaning. And after Van Gaal's recovery, I started to think, we rarely ever pay attention, or we rarely ever know what's happening in these players or these managers, these these characters' personal lives. We don't know. And whenever we know or find something out or something is reported, it's always negative. And people always look at them in this negative light. And I'm not talking about, the abuse or that isn't warranted. I mean, condemning them for what they're doing. I'm not saying that we shouldn't condemn them. I mean, anything that is immoral should be condemned. Let's just put that aside, get that out of the way, per se. What I'm saying is that we rarely ever turn the spotlight onto the things that deserve the coverage that will allow us to advance or move forward as fans, as a fan base, as, clubs, the culture. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I've been trying to put my words together. There is culture. There is a culture behind this sport. There is a culture of perseverance, of unity, of humanity that we choose to ignore for the most part, to focus on the trivialities. And I think that there should be more effort put into paying attention to the things that really matter, to the things that remind us every day why we love this sport so much. And that's where I'm going to leave this video. If you like this video, please just, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you want to. I genuinely want to know what you people think, what you agree with, what you disagree with, especially in this video, because I think this is more important than any other video I've ever put out. I think this topic is more important, not to me as Omar especially, but just to any football fan out there, and that's how I'm going to leave this. If you don't follow us on social media, the links to our accounts are in the description below. You'll find the link to our Facebook page where we post our Arabic content, and the link to our Arabic YouTube channel as well. And that's it for today. I'll see you next time the whistle blows. Cheers, everyone. Thank you once again for watching, and have a good night.